See, centrifugal force, have you ever felt the centrifugal force? This is one question. Have you ever felt the centrifugal force? Have you ever felt the centrifugal force? Many of you will say yes. When? When your bus takes turn, when you are in merry-go-round, right? The most common observation that we have every day is when our bus takes turn. Let me tell you. Say this is the road. Say I'll use. Suppose you are in the bus, and this is a bus having some wheels. I'm seeing the top view. This bus is moving in this direction, and you are inside. Right? When your bus takes turn, when your bus takes turn over here, when the bus is here, it is our common experience that we feel a force in outward direction. It is our common experience. But is it the force which you feel or the acceleration you feel? When bus takes turn, you tend to fall outward. So I am telling you, is it the force which you feel or the acceleration which you feel? You tend to fall outward. Do you feel a force or acceleration? If you feel a force, tell me one answer. Tell me who is applying that force. If you say you are feeling a force in outward direction, then you just tell me who applies that force. Who applies that force? Even if you are alone in the bus, then also you feel that force. When a force is applied on any body, there is someone who is applying force, and you must apply a reaction force also. If somebody is applying a force on you, you will apply a reaction. If you hit someone, you are also hit, because the person you are hitting is applying a reaction in you. But you don't have any such thing over here. When you are falling outward, do you see someone who is throwing you out? You never see that. In fact, there is no force acting on you. Force doesn't act. You are seeing acceleration. You are seeing acceleration. You see an acceleration. And we are in a bad habit of correlating the acceleration with the forces, because in 24 hours, I think except few minutes, we are inertial observer. Except few minutes, we are inertial observer. When I say this, I assume that Earth is inertial frame, because this force required is very low. So except few minutes, we are inertial observer. So that creates a habit in us that when a force acts on us, we expect the body to move, and when we see the body moving, we expect a force to be acting. In fact, whenever your force is acting, you see the body moves. Whenever force acts on you, you move. But then, when you are seeing the body moving, immediately you conclude there must be a force acting. So that's the habit that makes you feel that you are exerted, you are experiencing a force. Actually, what you see is you are experiencing an acceleration. You are experiencing an acceleration in outward direction. Right? I'll explain this observation. I'll tell you what the observer on the road will feel about the body kept in the bus, and I'll take two observers basically, this observer and one observer on the bus, and there is a person who is experiencing acceleration outward direction. I'll tell you what O1 thinks about this person and what O2 thinks about the person. What O1 is thinking about this person, who is the subject of our study, who is the topic of our study. This person, the motion of this person is the area of our interest. Let's see how O1 is analyzing, how O2 is analyzing. O1 is the observer on the rod, and O2 is observer on the bus. So let's see how O1 analyzes the motion of this person and how O2 is analyzing the motion of this person. That will make things very clear. right? But before I go into that, I'll give you a feel of, I'll give you an idea how pseudo force is fictitious. I'll go to this, I'll come to this. Suppose let's see this person. Our topic of study is this person, most of this person. I'll give you for simpler case. I'll discuss a very simple case first, and then I'll move to this. See, when your bus is moving on a straight road, suppose the driver pulls the brake. What do you feel? You say you experience a force in forward direction. You see all the people tending to fall in forward direction. I'll explain this observation according to observer on the bus and observer on the road. Since observer is an inertial observer, this may be non-inertial if bus is accelerating. When driver pulls the brake, I'll first explain this part, right? And then I'll come over here. If you understand this, this will help you understanding this. The idea is just to make you understand how pseudo forces are imaginary, pseudo forces are fictitious, how they never act. See, let's see this case. When driver pulls the brake, you see all the person inside the bus is tending to fall in forward direction. Let's explain the observation. Let's explain this phenomena according to observer on the road and observer on the bus. Okay. See, first let me explain according to O1, right? This is O2. See, when driver pulls the brake, what happens? The bus accelerates. The bus deaccelerates basically. The velocity of bus decreases. And as the velocity of bus is falling, your feet is in grip with the floor of the bus. Your feet is in the grip with the floor of the bus. There is a static friction which is binding your feet with the floor. There is a static friction. If there is no static friction, if the bus is frictionless and driver pulls the brake, you will be moving in forward direction. Nobody will stop you. You will be moving in forward direction, right? In fact, if there is no friction, can you move in the bus? What makes when here is the driver, right? When driver is driving, here is the driver, right? When driver is driving the bus, he is accelerating the bus in forward direction. Why you are moving the bus? Tell me first this one. I'll come to this. So when driver drives this bus, why do you move? Bus is moving. Why you are moving? Driver is not applying any force on you. So why you are moving actually? See, if there is no friction on the floor, the bus will move. You will be there itself. This force is going to strike you. And if there is no, see what I am telling is, if the floor is frictionless, over here, then if driver drives the bus is going to move, right? And since there is no friction, you will be here itself. For observer on the road, you will be here itself. Bus will move, and this person is going to strike you, right? If you don't have this person, if I delete this person, it's something like this, open from back, then bus will move. You will remain here itself. You will fall in vertically downward direction. Get your point? If there is no friction and driver rides the vehicle, then you are not going to move. The bus will move, and you will be here itself. The bus will move forward and ultimately will fall on the road, right? That's something which you have when there is no friction. But then there is always a friction. When there is a friction, what will happen? See, when driver accelerates the bus, when driver start the bus, this floor has got tendency to have relative motion in forward direction, right? This floor have tendency to move in forward direction. Then if there is a static friction will act on the floor in backward direction. And who is applying this static friction? Static friction is being applied by the feet of the person on the bus. The feet of the person on the bus is going to apply a static friction in backward direction, and as a reaction A static friction acts on you in forward direction, and it is this static friction which makes you move. It is this static friction which keeps you in grip with the bus. The static friction is usually high. We make the floor of the bus rough. Floor of the bus is not made smooth, right? So this floor is made rough, and this static friction binds your feet with the bus, and hence when the bus moves, your feet is moving. Same thing when bus comes at rest, when bus deaccelerate, the velocity of the feet also decreases. When the velocity of bus increases, the velocity of feet also increases. This is the static friction which prevent any kind of relative motion between your feet and the ground. This static friction prevents any kind of relative motion between your feet and the surface of the bus. So this static friction makes you move along with the bus. This static friction keeps your feet in grip with the bus floor. So as the bus accelerate, your feet will accelerate. As the bus deaccelerate, your feet will deaccelerate. Getting a point? Now we'll be in problem, right? See, if driver is moving and he suddenly pulls the brake, when he suddenly pulls the brake, the velocity of bus will decrease. When the velocity of bus will decrease, the velocity of feet will also decrease. Velocity of feet is also going to decrease because feet is in the grip of bus, right? The static friction is binding your feet with the bus. So velocity of feet will decrease, but upper portion of the body is still in motion. If driver pulls the brake and the vehicle stops, your feet will stop immediately along with the bus. The feet is going to stop immediately along with the bus, but upper portion of the body is still in motion. See, the human body is not a rigid body. One part of the body can move with respect to other part of the body. One part of the body, we can move the upper part of the body with respect to leg, right? So your feet comes at rest, but upper part of the body is still in motion in this direction. And when you have a relative motion in the different part of the body, if leg is at rest and upper part of the body is in motion, you will fall. You are going to fall. This is how Owen is going to analyze. Owen will say, well, your bus was moving, your feet was moving, your whole body was moving. When the driver pulls the brake, bus comes to rest. Along with the bus, your feet comes to rest, but upper part of the body is still in motion. Upper part of the body is still in motion. So in that case, you are falling in forward direction. See, there are two ways of falling in forward direction. One, if somebody pushes you. Other, if somebody catch hold of your feet. If I catch hold of your feet, you are walking, you are moving, you are running, and I just hold your feet. I hold your feet and put it at rest. In that case, you will suddenly fall. Right. So what friction is doing? Or when you say the friction has held your feet along with the bus. Upper part of the body was moving. Even the whole body was moving along with the bus. The bus, when the bus stops, when driver pulls the brake, bus stops. The friction holds your feet. The upper part of the body keep on moving. Hence you fall. So somebody has held your feet. Nobody has pushed you. Nobody has pushed you. Somebody has held your feet. Right? When you are running, when you are moving with high velocity, somebody catch hold of your feet. That's friction, and your body falls. That's what Owen observes. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing peculiar that he is observing. What he is observing, he is able to explain using the second law. But then, what O2 observes, what O2 will say about this whole phenomena. O2 is with the bus. O2 is observing. O2 is inheriting all the motion which bus is having. So O2 will say the bus is at rest. See, when you are in the vehicle, you don't see the motion of vehicle. You see the whole world moving, but you don't see the motion of vehicle. Have you ever seen? Do you ever see when you are in train and train is moving? Do you see the train moving? We don't see it. Why? Because we inherit the motion of the train. When we look out of the window, we see all the trees are moving back, all the buildings are moving, all the people on the road is moving, right? And then we apply brain. We have some mind also. We say the trees can't move, the building can't move. Actually, we are moving with respect to trees and buildings, right? So, but then that's not physics. You are not observing that. What you are observing is the trees are moving, the buildings are moving, your bus is not moving. This is your observation. When you apply your brain, you come to understand, no, we are moving, but that's not the observation. What you observe is the buildings are moving, the trees are moving, right? So you see the bus to be at rest. Or to see the bus to be at rest, and any person inside the bus is also at rest. Any person inside the bus is also at rest. Now, what you say is, suddenly the people start falling in forward direction. When driver pulls the brake, the people start falling in forward direction. Right? You have this common observation. When a driver pulls the brake, the people are falling in forward direction. But then he observes this acceleration, but he don't see any force acting on these people. You don't see any force. Because all of us were at rest. Suddenly driver pulls the brake, we are falling in forward direction. This O2 is not, O2 fails to observe any force. Actually, there is no force acting. O2 observes an acceleration. I don't see any force. But that's, O2 is observing acceleration. O2 is finding all the people falling in forward direction. But he don't observe any force behind it. So he see the observation, he see the acceleration without any force. So that's something which is the violation of Newton's laws. He is observing an acceleration. A is non-zero for O2, but F is 0 for O2. F is 0. But then O2 is destined to see such a thing because O2 is a non-inertial observer. A non-inertial observer always see a mismatch on the forces and acceleration. The non-inertial observer will always see some mismatch on the right hand side and left hand side. So O2 is seeing that. O2 fails to explain his observation of acceleration with the forces. So how you make O2 eligible? O2 can correlate his observation with the force using Newton's second law if he apply a pseudo force. If he applies pseudo force to every body he is observing. Suppose O2 is observing the motion of this body, this person. Then what he can do is, if he apply pseudo forces apart from all the forces that he is observing, mg normal reaction, he also start applying pseudo forces. Then his observation, what is his observation? Observation of O2 is that this person is falling in forward direction. Then observation of O2 regarding this person will be explained if he start applying pseudo forces. How he is going to apply pseudo forces? See, when the driver pulls the brake, momentarily your vehicle accelerates in backward direction. Momentarily your vehicle accelerates in backward direction. When vehicle accelerates in backward direction, the frame becomes non-inertial for that moment. In that case, when O2 is making an observation, here is O2. When O2 makes an observation, what he can do is, since the bus is accelerating in backward direction, he can apply a pseudo force that will be equal to mass of the body he is observing and acceleration of the frame to which O2, where the O2 lies, acceleration of the frame of O2, that is A. So once you start applying the pseudo force on all the people in the bus in forward direction, then his observation that why people are falling in forward direction gets explained. He'll say a pseudo force acted on you in forward direction and that's why you fall, that's why you fell. He start talking like a inertial observer. He start behaving like an inertial observer. Once he applies the pseudo force on all the people, he start talking like a inertial observer. So MA is a pseudo force which O2 must apply on the person he is seeing, and then once he applies the pseudo force, his observation of the acceleration gets correlated with the Newton's second law, and he is a happy person now, right? Okay, so I hope you understand this. Now let's come to this part. Now the same bus, same situation. The bus is now taking a turn. This person is tending to fall in outward direction. He tends to fall in outward direction. Let me first explain the observation of O1. So here you saw that O1 don't need pseudo force to explain the observation regarding this person, but O2 requires pseudo force. O2 needs pseudo force to explain his observation, right? So pseudo force is something which is required by O2 and not O1. So you can understand the pseudo force must not be acting. It's just a manipulation to make this person eligible. It's just a manipulation to make this young chap eligible. O2, we are making O2 eligible to correlate his observation of the forces using the pseudo forces. If this would have acted, O1 would not have missed it. O1 would have also applied it. There is no force which act on someone, right? It will be observed by O2 and not observed by O1. There is no such real forces. If there is a real force, every observer is going to observe it. In fact, this is just a manipulation. Pseudo force is just a manipulation. All these are manipulations to make a non-instant observer eligible to apply Newton's second law. Now, let's see this one. Let's see this case. Okay, let's see. See this case. Your bus is now taking turn. This person is falling in outward direction. This person is falling in outward direction. Both of them will observe this, O1 and O2. If this person is falling in outward direction, both are going to observe this. But they will explain this in different fashion. Let's see what O1 is saying. When bus is accelerating, bus is taking a turn, then from here till here, the bus is in circular motion. Bus is undergoing a circular motion. That's it. Bus undergoes a circular motion. When your bus is taking a turn, it undergoes a circular motion. And can you tell me what is the direction of acceleration when a body moves in a circle? Circular motion is accelerated motion, because the velocity, direction of velocity keeps on changing. The direction of velocity keeps on changing. So circular motion is accelerated motion. Circular motion is accelerated motion. But then, can you tell me what is the direction of acceleration? In what direction the body accelerates? Let me draw a circle. Suppose this is a circle. And suppose the body is in circular motion. The body lies in circular motion. At time t, the particle was here. And say the velocity is, let me draw the velocity. Oh, sorry. This is the direction. This is V. This is your V. Say this is Vt, right? After time dt, you are here. After time dt, the particle moves by an angle of, say, d theta. Suppose this was your theta. At time t, the particle was at an angle theta with respect to this line, and say this is d theta, right? This is d theta. Okay. So the velocity will change direction. Velocity is going to change direction to, it will come in this direction, right? It will come in this direction. Okay. It will come in this direction. So this is your Vt plus dt, is it not? This is Vt plus dt. I am talking uniform circular motion. In uniform circular motion, the velocity do not change its magnitude. Velocity is not changing its magnitude. It's just changing the direction, right? So what is delta V? Delta V is going to be, in fact, I should draw it something like this. So what is delta V? Delta V is this is delta V. This is going to be a delta V, and in fact, you are, in fact, if you produce this, delta V lies towards center. Delta V will point. This can be proved also. This can be proved also. This is direction delta V. So if this is d theta, this angle will also be d theta. This is dV. So you see the direction of dV is towards center. So the acceleration will lie in direction of dV. So acceleration, the body accelerates in inward direction towards center. When body is moving in a circular orbit, then you are actually accelerating in radially inward direction. And let you find the acceleration. See, for this triangle, see the magnitude of Vt and magnitude of Vt plus dt is same. Magnitude of Vt and Vt plus dt is same. So I can use the cosine rule. So dv square is going to be, this is V, this is V, this vector magnitude is V, this magnitude of this vector is also V. So it is V square plus V square and 2V square cos d theta, is it not? If we have a triangle, say this is theta, and this is C, this is A, this is B, then the cosine formula says minus 2AB cos theta. That's the cosine formula. So in this case, your A is V, B is V, C square dV whole square, and angle is d theta. So this will be written as 2V square cos d theta, or 2V square 1 minus cos d theta. So that will be 2V square 2 sin square d theta by 2. So that is 4V square sin square d theta by 2. So dV comes out to be 2V sin d theta by 2, right? And d theta is very small, so dV is 2V d theta by 2. So that is V d theta, or dV by dt is V d theta by dt. So that is V theta dot. V theta dot. And what is theta dot? Basically velocity is your r theta dot. In circular motion, you don't have radial velocity, you just have transverse velocity only. So you can write it as V square by r, or you can write this is r theta dot square. You can write it r theta dot square, or you can say theta dot is omega, so you can write omega square r. So when a body is moving in a circular motion, the body actually accelerates in radially inward direction. The body actually accelerates in inward direction. The acceleration of the body lies in inward direction. So the acceleration lies in inward direction. Acceleration is in inward direction. Okay, when a body is moving in a circular orbit, the acceleration is V square by r. The acceleration is V square by r, or it is omega square r. Okay. Now we are in position to explain this observation. So when your bus is taking turn, you are seeing this person falling in outward direction. Let's first explain what O1 is observing. O1 is observing the man is falling outward. In fact, observation of O1 is also the man is falling in outward direction. O2 is also seeing the man falling in outward direction. But see how O1 will explain it. See when O1, how O1 is going to explain this observation. See, See, the man is falling in outward direction. How Owen explains. Owen will say, see, your bus is taking turn. When your bus is taking turn, bus is accelerating in inward direction. And when bus is accelerating in inward direction, your feet is in the grip of the bus. So feet also accelerate in inward direction. Your feet, this is what Owen will say. Your feet is also accelerating in inward direction. Somebody is pulling your feet in radially inward direction. So your upper part of the body is falling. In fact, what Owen is saying is somebody is pulling your feet in inward direction. Since the feet is in the grip of the bus, bus is moving in circular motions. Bus is accelerating in inward direction. So feet also accelerate in inward direction. So the upper part of the body falls in outward direction. This is what Owen will say, and he don't find any problem in explaining that. But O2 finds a problem. O2 will say the bus is at rest, and suddenly when driver is taking turn, bus is at rest, and the people are falling in outward direction. He will find the bus to be at rest. He is on the bus. He is on the bus. He is inheriting all the motion of the bus. So he says bus is at rest, and this person starts falling in outward direction. He don't find any force behind it. Then he is seeing acceleration. He is seeing an acceleration in this person without force. So that's something which O2 is destined to see. O2 is a non-inertial observer. When bus takes turn, bus is in circular motion, and when bus is in circular motion, for that period O2 becomes a non-inertial observer. Right? When bus are moving in uniform velocity, O2 is not a non-inertial observer. But when bus takes turn, the bus is a non-inertial frame right now. Bus is a non-inertial object. So O2 is lying on the bus. So O2 is also a non-inertial observer. When you are a non-inertial observer, you are destined to see some acceleration without force. You are destined to see mismatch between force and acceleration. You are destined to see the violation of Newton's second law. So O2 is saying the people are falling in outward direction, but he don't observe any force. Then in order to help him out, what we do is we apply pseudo force. When bus is taking turn, bus is accelerating in inward direction, and now we'll take help of pseudo force and help this person in explaining his observation. What he can do is we can apply a pseudo force on the bus. That pseudo force should be equal to mass of the object, that is mass of this person, into acceleration of the bus, that is v square by r. I am going to apply a pseudo force that is equal to mass of the person whom we are observing, whom O2 is observing, that is mass of this man, and acceleration of the bus, that is v square by r, and direction will be opposite to direction of this acceleration of the frame. Frame is bus is accelerating in radially inward direction. So you apply a pseudo force in outward direction, and magnitude is mass of the body we are observing, and acceleration of the frame, that is v square by r, or m omega square. So that is the centrifugal force that we apply on the person who is moving, on the person whom O2 is observing. O2 is observing this person, so in order to explain his observation with respect to forces, he must apply this force, right? And O2 has to apply this pseudo force not only on the person inside bus. O2 has to apply pseudo force on everything he observes. Maybe that object is in the bus, or it may be in any part of the universe. O2 has to apply this pseudo force not just on a person in the bus. He has to apply this pseudo force on any object which he observes. The object may be in any part of the universe. Pseudo force does not depend on location of the object which a non-inertial observer observes. Pseudo force depends on the location of the observer O2. Pseudo force will act or not, or what amount of pseudo force will act, will not depend on where this body is located. It will depend on where O2 is located. It will depend on where O2 is located. O2 is located in a non-inertial frame. O2 is located in a rotating observer or rotating frame. He has to apply this centrifugal force on every object he observes, whether this object is in the bus or it may be in any part of the universe, right? So